I did not disagree with you. Yeah, her car makes a very deep rumble when it moves. Ooh. Are you telling me I'm doing an orbital build? Is that what you're telling me, game? I think it's what the game's telling me. What do you think? What do you think the game's telling me? But why not? Get more bombs. Ads are gonna be the death of me. This is a very I don't. It's that enchantment. Oh. Woo. Here we go. It's orbital build coming up. So it's going to be like, even though I could max out my curse, I'll have guarantee lucky hit with all my orbitals. Because of that ring, it increases the orbital speed by 100%. Here we go. Got another orbital. It's orbital time. Oh man. Get the gold, sure, why not? Bring on the curse. Exodus Despair's fun. Okay. We'll just... Yeah, we can read now. Okay. Do you want to start off with Logos? Battle Project card? I knew what you meant. Boom, 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 boom. All right, we're at Old Testament overview, where we overview the Old Testament.
Number.
We're on numbers, you say? No, we done numbers.
Joshua.
Okay, yeah, we done Deuteronomy, which was
Joshua.
now for Joshua.
The book of Joshua. Let's back up and remember the story so far. So God chose Abraham, and then his family became the people of Israel, who are then enslaved down in Egypt. And so through Moses, God rescued Israel out of Egypt. He made a covenant with them at Mount Sinai, and he brought them through the wilderness. So Israel then camped outside the promised land, and Moses called them to obey God's commands so that they could show all the other nations what God is like. The book of Joshua picks up right after Moses has died, and Israel's ready to enter the land. So the story of Joshua is designed with four main movements. Joshua first leads Israel into the promised land, and then once they're there, they meet all this hostility from the Canaanites, and so they engage them in battle. Then after their victories, Joshua divides up the promised land as the inheritance for the 12 tribes, and then the book concludes with these final speeches that Joshua gives to the people. So let's dive in and we'll see how all of it flows together. The first section begins with Moses' death, and Joshua is appointed as Israel's new leader. And the author intentionally presents Joshua as a new Moses. So like Moses, Joshua calls the people to obey the Torah, which means the covenant commands that they were given at Mount Sinai. And then Joshua sends spies into the land, just as Moses did back in Numbers chapters 13 and 14, except it goes way better this time. In fact, even some Canaanites turn and follow the God of Israel. Joshua then leads all Israel across the Jordan River and into the land. Just like the sea parted for Moses in the Exodus, so here the river Jordan parts and the priests carry the Ark of the Covenant across, leading all Israel with them. Now, in chapter 5, the story transitions. So the people look back to their roots as God's covenant people, and so the new generation is circumcised and they celebrate their first Passover in the land. But then they turn and prepare to go forward. And Joshua has this crazy encounter with a mysterious warrior, who, it turns out, is the angelic commander of God's army. And Joshua asks, "Are you for us or are you for our enemies?" And the warrior responds, "Neither," which shows that the real question here is whether Joshua is on God's side. It makes clear that this whole story is not about Israel versus the Canaanites. Rather, this is God's battle, and Israel is going to play the role of spectators or sometimes supporters in God's plan, which leads to the next section. We find stories about all these conflicts that Israel had with different Canaanite groups. And the first part retells the story of 2 battles in detail, and that's followed by a series of short stories that condense years of battles into a few brief summaries. So the first 2 battles are against Jericho and then Ai, and they offer these contrasting portraits of God's faithfulness versus Israel's failure. At Jericho, Israel is to take a completely passive approach. So they let God's presence in the ark lead them around the city to music for 6 days. And just like Rahab turned to the God of Israel, maybe the people of Jericho would do the same, but they don't. And so on the 7th day, the priests blow the trumpets and the walls come falling down, leading Israel to victory. The point of the story is that God is the one who will deliver his people. Israel simply needs to trust and wait. Now, the next story of the battle at Ai makes the opposite point. So there's this Israelite named Achan, and he steals from Jericho some of the devoted goods that were to belong to God alone, and then he lies about it. It's a pretty lame move after all that God has done for Israel. And so Israel goes into battle with the city of Ai, and they're totally defeated. And it's only after humble repentance and severely dealing with Achan's sin that Israel gains victory. And so together, these 2 stories, they're placed right up front to make an important point. If Israel is going to inherit the land, they have to be obedient and trust in God's commands. They don't get special treatment. Now, the second part of this section begins with the Gibeonites, a Canaanite people group, and they do just what Rahab did as they turn to follow the God of Israel and they make peace with Israel. This is in contrast to all of these other Canaanite kings who start to form alliances and coalitions, and they want to destroy Israel. So Israel engages them in battle, and they win by a landslide. And so this whole section concludes with this summary list of all of these victories won by Moses and then by Joshua. Now, let's stop for a second, because odds are that these stories and the violence in them, they're going to bother you. And if you're a follower of Jesus, you're bound to wonder, like, didn't Jesus say to love your enemies? Why is God declaring war here? So first, why the Canaanites? The main reasons are actually given earlier in the biblical story. It's that the culture of the Canaanites had become extremely morally corrupt, especially when it comes to sex. Go check out Leviticus chapter 18. And they also widely practiced child sacrifice. Go see Deuteronomy chapter 12. And so God didn't want these practices to influence Israel. The Canaanites had to go. Which raises the second question. Did God actually command the destruction of all the Canaanites, like a genocide? So at first glance, you look at the phrases used in these stories. They totally destroyed them. They left no survivor or anything that breathed. But when you look a second time, more closely, you'll see that these phrases are clearly hyperbole and not literal. So go back to the original command about the Canaanites in Deuteronomy chapter 7. Israel is first told to drive out the Canaanites, but then to totally destroy them. And then that's followed by commands to not intermarry with them or enter into business deals with them. So you can't marry someone that you've destroyed. I think you get the point. The same idea applies to the stories in Joshua. Look closely. So, for example, we're told in Joshua chapter 10 that Israel left no survivors in the cities of Hebron or Debir. But then later, in chapter 15, we see these towns, and they're still populated by Canaanites. And so what we're seeing is that Joshua fits in with other ancient battle accounts by using non-literal hyperbolic language as part of the narrative style. And so the word genocide doesn't actually fit what we see here, especially in light of the stories about the Canaanites who did turn to the God of Israel, like Rahab or the Gibeonites. God was open to those who would turn to him. The last thing to think about is that these stories mark a unique moment in Israel's history. These battles were limited to the handful of people groups living in the land of Canaan. With all other nations, Israel was commanded by God to pursue peace. Go read Deuteronomy chapter 20. So the purpose of these battle stories was never to tell you, the reader, to go commit violence in God's name. Rather, they show God bringing his justice on human evil at a unique moment in history and how he delivered Israel from being annihilated by the Canaanites. Now, let's go back to the book's design. After years of battles, we see an aging Joshua, and he starts dividing up the land for the 12 tribes of Israel. And most of this section is like lists of boundary lines. And let's be honest, it's kind of boring. It's like reading a map that has no pictures. But for the Israelites, these lists were super important. This was the fulfillment of God's ancient promises to Abraham, that his descendants would inherit the promised land. And so now it was all coming to pass right down to the detail, which leads to the final section. Joshua gives two speeches to the people that are very similar to the final speeches of Moses in Deuteronomy. Joshua reminds them of God's generosity, how he brought them into the land and rescued them from the Canaanites. And so he calls them to turn away from the Canaanite gods and be faithful to the covenant they made. If they do, it will lead to life and blessing in the land. But if they're unfaithful, Israel will call down on itself the same divine judgment that the Canaanites experienced. They'll be kicked off the land into exile. And so Joshua leaves Israel with a choice. What is Israel going to do? That's the big question that looms as the story ends, and that's the book of Joshua.
All right. So we've read Joshua before, right? And so first things first, is it just the Israelites versus the Canaanites?
No.
It is a
Judgment
on human evil, on Canaanite human evil specifically. It has reached to the brim, which you see.
God's like, no, that's it. Your time, get out of here. But some of them went away, and then it started popping.
And so you hear a lot, like, there's a lot of confusion where sometimes the words will say like utterly destroyed.
Yeah,
But-
but those in this little old battle.
Little battle terms where it is not literal. It's a hyperbole. So it'll be like, man, I utterly destroyed my computer today. Or I'll say I utterly destroyed that video game. Like, does that mean I destroyed it? Like
No, you just destroyed the video game.
yeah, I just beat the video game.
You beat the crap out of it. I just uninstalled by itself. It's like, I'm done with this.
All right, ready for reading? Boom, 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 boom. All right, we are in 2 Samuel. But the thing David has done was displeasing in Yahweh's eyes. All right, remember last time we're at the height of David's story. And now this is when he becomes a royal screw up. He messes up royally. Jesus, you're only amazing. Thank you for today. Thank you that we could just walk to a local supermarket. We can walk. We can enjoy the good land you provided. May we take our members, take our video games, take our life, and may it be a pleasing sacrifice offering to you. Thank you, King Jesus, that you don't call for us you don't call for our blood. You just call us to love you and love our enemies, love our neighbors, because you have created all in your image, everyone that is of utmost worth. May we breathe in that and live in that. Wonderful awesome name. Amen. But the thing David has done was pleasing in Yahweh's eyes. At the turn of the year, the time when kings go out to battle, David sent Joab and his servants with him and all Israel, and they devastated the Ammonites and besieged Rabbah, while David stayed in Jerusalem. One evening, David got up from his bed and walked about on the roof of the palace, and from the roof saw a woman bathing. The woman was very good looking. So David sent and inquired about the woman. He was told, This will be Bathsheba, daughter of Elam, wife of Uriah the Hittite. David sent aides. They got her, and she came to him. He slept with her while she was sanctifying herself from her taboo, and she went back home. The woman got pregnant and sent and told David, I'm pregnant. David sent to Joab, Send Uriah the Hittite to me. Joab sent Uriah to David. When Uriah came to him, David asked him about how well things were with Joab and with the company and with the battle. Then David said to Uriah, Go down to your house and bathe your feet. When Uriah went out from the palace, a present followed him. But Uriah slept at the door of the palace with all the other servants of his master. He did not go down to his house. In the morning, David wrote a message to Joab and sent it by means to Uriah. He wrote in the message, Place Uriah in the forefront of the fiercest battle and withdraw from him so that he may be struck down and die. The men of the city came out and fought Joab, and of the company some of David's servants fell. Uriah the Hittite also died. Joab sent and told David all the details of the battle. David said to the aide, Say this to Joab, the saying is not to be amiss in your eyes, because the sword consumes one way and another way. Strengthen your fight against Satan and destroy it. Thus encourage him. When Uriah's wife heard that her husband Uriah was dead, she lamented over her master. When the time for mourning had passed, David sent and fetched her to his house. She became his wife and bore him a son. But the thing David had done was wrong in Yahweh's eyes. So he takes another man's wife. And then, next level, she got pregnant. And then next level, to hide his waywardness, he then sends Uriah out to get killed in war. So Uriah dies, and then he marries his wife. There is a news item today about a state governor who had to resign because of a sex scandal a couple of years ago, but is now trying to rehabilitate himself in the eye of the public. As governor, one of his strengths was that he had regarded all things as possible. He ignored the conventional wisdom that says you can't do that. In connection with his involvement in the sex scandal, a reporter asked whether there hadn't been a voice inside him that said, you can't do that. And he agreed that apparently there wasn't. In other words, he also seemed to ignore that conventional wisdom in his private life, thinking he could get away with it. I know of no statistics suggesting that leaders are more prone to sexual wrongdoing than other people, or that pastors are more prone than lay people, but they don't seem to be less prone, and there are one or two ways in which this seems troublesome. We will like to think of our leaders as people of integrity, partly because we want them to lead with integrity, and it's not clear that they can lack integrity in their private lives and keep it in their public roles. Further, the risk our leaders take in their sexual lives seems stupid. And if they are stupid there, can we assume they'll behave with wisdom in their public roles? It can seem as as if they believe they can get away with things just because of their position, when, if anything, the opposite is the case. Maybe David falls for this set of assumptions and reveal these flaws. Maybe it starts with the fact that he is at home in his palace, able to have his afternoon nap when his army is out fighting a war. It is the time when kings go out to battle, and all Israel has done so, except David. East of the Jordan, Rabbah, the Ammonite capital, modern Amman, the capital of Jordan, is an equivalent location, Jerusalem, as the Israelite capital west of the Jordan. David's army is there to assert Israelite authority over the city and over the area as part of David's empire. To be fair, he was letting Joab be effective commander-in-chief in the previous chapter. So maybe it is fine for him to be a stay-at-home commander-in-chief now, like a U.S. president. But this would be a more impressive argument if he were staying home to focus on exercising authority in a way that does the right thing by his people. The commitment we consider in connection with chapter 8, he is doing no such thing. And in chapter 12, he will be only too willing to show up at Rabbah for the actual fall of the city so that the credit goes to him rather than Joab, the man who does the donkey work. You can't necessarily blame David for spotting Bathsheba bathing on the roof, nor Bathsheba for doing so. She was apparently undertaking the bath that the Torah required at the end of her period, and the roof is normally the place where people go when they want to be private. Maybe the only residence that would overlook a roof would be the palace, which was located at the height of the city. Only the sanctuary was located above the palace. While this implies the elevation of the king over his people, it also implied his responsibility. It suggests that literally and metaphorically he can keep an eye on the city. From there he can see what is going on and thus indeed exercise authority and ensure that right is prevailing in the city. But his instincts take him in another direction. While David is never said to love anyone, the number of children he procreates indicates that he has sex with various wives. Yet, being a regular man, he is still capable of fancying another woman. A friend of mine was telling me the other day about a billionaire who was asked how much money was enough and who replied that it is always a little more than you have. The same is true about sex. David and his agents are the subject of a series of verbs that are chilling for Bathsheba. He saw, he sent. So remember Garden of Eden. He saw, yep, good at pleasing his eye.
Yeah.
He sent, he acquired, he sent, they got, he slept with. She is then the subject of the verb that often excites a woman, but sometimes frightens her. She got pregnant. If it were the modern West, David will be arranging for her to have an abortion. And in traditional societies, there are ways of seeking to do so, though they are either very dangerous for the woman or unlikely to succeed. But in any case, the Old Testament's failure to mention abortion and the Torah's failure to prohibit it suggests it wasn't within the framework of thinking for Israelites, even when pregnancies were totally unwelcome. David's first thought is to try to get Uriah to sleep with Bathsheba so she can pass off the child as his. But Uriah won't cooperate. It's horrible how one thing can lead to another. When he cast his eye over the city from his roof, David could not have imagined that spotting a hot woman will lead to murder. And if he had imagined this possibility, one can also imagine he would hurry to look the other way. But one thing does lead to another. He has Uriah killed. It was when he discovered that Bathsheba was married to someone who was ethnically a Hittite, presumably not a Hittite recently arrived from Turkey, but someone from the tribe that lived in the Hebron area in Abraham's day. A foreigner that David decided to send for her. Did that make it easier? After all, she's married to a Hittite. Does the same consideration make it easier to have him killed? After all, he is only a Hittite. Yet he is evidently a worshiper of Yahweh. His name means Yahweh is my light. Indeed, when he declined to go and sleep with his wife, maybe he smelled a rat. But what he actually said was that he couldn't possibly go home like that when the rest of the army was engaged in the war. It is just the kind of thought that should surely have been in David's head. Instead, David is now thinking of murder. He turns the man himself into the messenger who carries the instructions for his own death. In the next engagement, some of Israel's crack troops are killed, and Joab makes sure Uriah is with them. The story doesn't quite say that the deaths result from the need to get Uriah killed, though that need seems to dictate Joab's strategy. Joab does fear that David may decide that Joab took unwise risks in the engagement, but he knows David won't mind the sacrifice of those warriors if Uriah is among them. David's response is as cynical as Joab's instructions to his aide about how to break the news of David. Problem solved. Bathsheba can fulfill the proper mourning for her husband. Then David can sin for her again. Once more, she is the object of verbs. At no point is there any suggestions that she has any say in what happens. He is the king, after all. You don't say no to the king, or the professor, or the pastor, or the governor, or the president, whether it concerns a one-night stand or a marriage. But the thing David had done was wrong in Yahweh's eyes. So Yahweh, yeah. All right, friend. After that very sad read, we can start. Mm-hmm. Oh man. Come on. Give me the orbital. Ah, gosh darn it. Oh, I'm messing up all over the place. I was looking at chat. Ugh. Yet for allowing myself to be distracted. Do 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 do. I'm messing up left and right. Oh man. Oh, I thought I had dodged. Gosh darn it. Messing up left and right. Resale? All right, let's toad it. Oofa. Give me one of these. Why not? Let's go full crush strength. Pretty much everything's enchanted. I'll do it. Yeah, let's do evil. It's fine. Sure, why not? Oh. What? And I am. Oh! Get some bombs. Thank you. Ah. I should have grabbed the shrine boost. This one, eh? And go with us. Hmm. Oh man. Oh, I thought I was in the clear. I tested that theory out. Small chance still getting hit. Ooh. Secrets. That works. Oh my gosh. Oh. What's up, Rose Angel? Doing decent today. How are you? Bombs. Ooh. Alright. Can I rock that still? Nope. That's going to have to wait. But logically, I could have it in my inventory and not wear me down, but the moment I put it on. Get out of here. Oh, this is gonna be rough. Ooh. I feel like I need to start wearing a mouth guard when I play this. I can feel myself just clenching my teeth. Oh, what? I almost thanks got too close to the poison pool. Hello? All right, Broheim, in 10 minutes, I have to go through step, okay? What's up, man? Oh, okay. I also have been actually got in a car accident. So like wasn't even on yesterday. Yeah, everyone's safe. Really sore. But yeah, yesterday was lots of resting. Yeah. The moment appears everyone's okay. Got checked out, but it was it was not fun. Oh man, sorry, man. Like my neck's really sore. Yeah, bean bombs, please. Thank you. You mean play that the next after steps? Mm-hmm. Hmm. Hey, we're at time though. Take something really quick. They added a new ability or they haven't? Cool. All right, my friend. You ready to read? All right. Do it. And you ate your yogurt, correct? Okay, just hydrate up. And then you're good for gold. So yeah, so dealing with that insurance. Luckily, thanks be to my end, I'm feeling fortunate. It's not my fault. It's on the other driver, so. All right, let's go. But yeah, the guy was really nice. Said you'd be completely honest through the whole thing. Prayed with him, actually. It was really good. All right. 2 Samuel chapter 12, verse 1 to verse 15a. So remember, David done a lot, step way into waywardness now. The man who has learned how to be a prophet. Christ, you're good. May we, as we read the writings of the ancients, please reveal to us what it means to them and in turn what it means now. Give us your wisdom, because wisdom on how to not rob, but give, to not deplete, but to share. Because that's what you do. You're always sharing. And you're beautiful to look at. Amen. So Yahweh sent Nathan to David. He came to him and said to him, there were 2 men in a certain city, one rich, one poor. The rich man had very large flocks and herds. The poor man didn't have anything except one small ewe lamb that he had acquired. He had raised it and had grown up with him and his children all together. So Nathan is a prophet now confronting David, first with a story. In the story, there's a rich man and a poor man. The rich man had all the land, all the sheep, lots of sheep. And the poor man only had one. Well, the poor man had only one lamb, only one little ewe lamb. So rich man had a lot, poor man had one. It used to eat from his serving, drink from his cup, and sleep in his arms. It was like a daughter to him. A man on a journey came to the rich man, but he spared taking something from his own flocks or herds to make dinner for the traveler who had come to him, and took the poor man's ewe lamb and made dinner for the man who had come to him. David's anger flared right up at the man. He said to Nathan, as Yahweh lives, the man who did this should die. He should pay fourfold for the ewe lamb because he did this thing, and since he did not spare him. Nathan said to David, you're the man. Yahweh, the God of Israel, has said this. I myself anointed you as king over Israel. I myself rescued you from Saul's hand. I gave you your master's household and your master's wives into your arms. I gave you the household of Israel and Judah. If that was too little, I would have added to you as much again. Why did you despise Yahweh's word by doing what is wrong in my eyes? Uriah the Hittite you struck down with the sword, and his wife you took as your wife. Him you slew with the sword and the Ammonites. So now the sword will not depart from your household ever, because you despised me and took Uriah the Hittite's wife to be your wife. Yahweh has said this, right? I am going to raise up trouble for you from your household. I will take your wives before your eyes and give them to someone else. You will sleep with your wives in broad daylight, because you yourself acted in secret, but I shall do this thing before all Israel and in broad daylight. David said to Nathan, I have acted wrongly against Yahweh. Nathan said to David, yes, but Yahweh has removed your wrongdoing. You will not die. Nevertheless, because you have shown total contempt for the enemies of Yahweh by this act, yes, the child born to you will definitely die. And Nathan went home. So, gave him the story of one person had nothing, but had like say $1. And while another person had like thousands and thousands of dollars.
$1 billion.
Sure, $1 billion. And so someone came over, and instead of sharing from his billions of dollars, he took the other man's $1. And so then David the king got angry and said the person should pay fourfold, the rich man. And then Nathan goes, you are the man. You have taken Uriah's wife as your wife. You have slain Uriah with the Ammonites. Mm-hmm. It is 3:30. A pastor once came to talk to me because he had an affair. He had actually got away with it. He thinks his wife never realized. But he knew he had behaved in a way that was both wrong and stupid. He knew he needed to talk through what happened in order not to get into the same mess again. One thing that struck me was the gradual nature of the way things happened. No one had come to him for counseling because she felt there was a sadness that permeated her life. She was attractive, and it soon became apparent that her marriage was unhappy. The pastor had some problems in his own marriage. All this ought to have rung alarm bells, and in a way it did. At least he took steps to involve one of his female colleagues in the counseling. After a while, they all decided they had done what they could do, but the woman asked if she could come to see him one more time just for coffee. And that ended up with a farewell hug that turned into a kiss, and one thing led to another. That was how it had been for David. But he didn't go to see his pastor, and his pastor would have reason to be hesitant about going to see him. Prophets who take it upon themselves to confront kings risk their lives, and they sometimes lose them. The first striking feature of this story is thus the contrast between Nathan in chapter 7 and Nathan in chapter 12. There he was, David's yes man. Here he confronts David. He does so in a way that shows how a prophet may need shrewdness as well as guts. When he realizes he has to go to see David, I like to imagine him reacting the way Ananias will react when told to go see Saul of Tarsus, see Acts 9, which roughly paraphrase amount to saying, Lord, are you insane? Then either God gives Nathan his parable or Nathan dreams it up, and it is the means of breaking through David's defenses. Sup? All right, I'm reading. Apologies. Need to focus. David can hardly complain when his comment on what ought to happen to the rich man anticipates what will happen to David himself. There looks to be an ill logic about it, death and fourfold restitution. But it corresponds to the implication of the Torah. The man should die. David says, therefore he'll pay fourfold for his meanness. We noted in connection with the story of Saul and the median at Endor that many of the Torah's rules prescribe the death penalty for an offense, including murder or adultery. David is guilty of both, but that in practice Israel does not exact that penalty. So in the Torah, in the law book, for what David did, he should be dead. But it's like, yeah, but that's not always practiced. By saying that a guilty person should die, it marks how serious the offense is, but by not exacting the penalty, it's perhaps recognizing that execution raises as many problems as it solves, and the reference to restitution comes nearer to stating what should actually happen. Outside the parable, the punishment that God announces is thus not execution, as one might expect, but a calamity that arises from within David's own household. God will bring this calamity about, but there will be nothing supernatural about it. You could say it will be the natural outworking of the way David has behaved. Certainly the punishment will fit the crime. David has let violence and sexual immorality loose in his household and in Uriah's. But when you have let these loose, you may not be able to get them back into their cage. Both David and God act and speak in jaw-droppingly mysterious ways in this story. The first enigma is articulating God's question to David. David has so much. Why on earth did he do what he did? The second question is raised by his reaction to Nathan. I have done wrong against Yahweh. As Western readers with our stress and emotions, we think David should say how deeply sorry he is. And we wonder if this acknowledgement is enough. Yet when public figures caught guilty of some wrongdoing go in for public hand-wringing, it makes us squirm. To an Israelite way of thinking, too, confession primarily means facing and acknowledging the facts. It is impossible to tell what is actually going on in David, but the spare, bald acknowledgement contrasts with the impression of grief that will shortly be convened by his response to his son's illness. It's also difficult to know what to make of God's response. God has removed David's wrongdoing. What does that mean? Has God forgiven it? And if so, in what sense? God doesn't cancel the sentence that Nathan has declared, and over the coming chapters, what Nathan said would happen does happen. Perhaps that is not surprising. In Western culture, when a person guilty of a crime repents, we don't usually decide that therefore they needn't pay their penalty. Indeed, God imposes an extra punishment. Bathsheba's baby will die. Nathan declares that David has despised God's word. There are two senses in which that is so. He has despised the kind of word that appears in the Ten Commandments, where God proscribes acts such as adultery and murder. While leaders of any size can think they can do what they like, in Israel, a Torah places particular constraints around the king. David has ignored these. Yet his story has made more reference to another kind of word, God's word of promise to him, which came in Nathan's previous message to him. God's word came to Nathan, and David urged God to establish the word spoken to him. Reference here to God's word reminds David of the great things God has done for him, which were a fulfillment of that word of promise, and of the further great things God intended for him, which were designed to be a further fulfillment of that promise. He has despised that word, that promise. One might think he has imperiled it, but that same word of promise gave God no escape for a commitment to David. God can chastise David, but not abandon him. In turn, that fact suggests the possibility that God's removing David's wrongdoing means refusing to let it be an obstacle to the fulfillment of God's purpose with Israel through David. Even though the wrongdoing will have other terrible consequences, it also raised the possibility that God's removing the wrongdoing wasn't a response to David's confession at all. It doesn't make a difference whether that confession indicated real sorrow or just remorse and a regret at being found out. God's refusing to put David to death or abandoning him emerges from God, from God's grace and commitment. God doesn't have mercy on us because we deserve it. God has mercy on us because that is God's nature. So that is God's, what's that word? No, chesed. Yes, that is God's chesed. So David, even though he said sorry, it is in God's nature to forgive, to remove waywardness. David doesn't deserve it. It's his generosity. He is committing, Yahweh commits himself to the promise, and still keeps committing to the promise, even after our screw-ups. There is one further strange and paradoxical reason why David will not simply be let off. He has shown total contempt for Yahweh's enemies. I put the phrase about the enemies in brackets because it might be a later addition to the text. You'll see that modern translations leave it out, but it's part of the text, and it suggests an insight. David's job was to rule over Yahweh's enemies and be the means whereby they came to acknowledge Yahweh. His action has shown him to be someone whom Yahweh's enemies could reasonably despise. How can he now be the means of their coming to acknowledge Yahweh? By his act, he has undermined the fulfillment of his vocation. All right, friend, we can start. So yeah, I don't know if you're still there, Hinaj. Hun? All right. I can take more bombs. Oh, what's up, Game Legend? So you have a good trip with your dad? That's really cool that your dad took you on his business trip. Not too many dads do that. What's up, Elon Warrior? What's up, my Polish friend? How's school coming back up? Oh, I'm sorry, mate. All right, I should just build around, you know. Oh, okay. Nice. It's always nice to make friends with of similar interests. The challenge is making friends with someone who don't have similar interests, which I found it'd be a lot easier it's around food because everyone likes tasty food, and around King Jesus. Which, if there's not that, then the easiest thing is around food and drinks. Armor is going to save me. I shouldn't sell it. How about rocks? Nice. Yeah, rock hunting is pretty huge here. Oh, that is cool. Oh gosh. All right. Take care of the ads. Ah. Hey, Darn you! And I am doing terrible.
Okay. Oh. Okay.
Okay. Oh, man. Hmm. Hmm. Never heard of Selenium Dagger. I have to look it up now. Hmm. Oh, it's Damascus steel. Hmm. Well, that's cool. Yeah, I have a friend who makes forged knives and stuff like that. And so my friend and I both have a couple forged knives. That's cool. You have a stick that looks like a spear. You know, it sounds like you can make any spear that looks like make any stick that look like a spear. I've been trying to get booms. Hmm. That's interesting. Well, that'd be cool.
Okay.
All right, these are the ridiculous ones. If I just go in circles, can't stand still. Oh. Hmm. No, we actually made a handmade bow before. That's pretty cool.
No.
It's true.
Oh. Boy.
Mm.
I got that Sonic. Okay, cool.
I'm guessing he's some resin. The crossbows though were a game changer. Oh. Medieval times. Oh gosh darn. Oh, that's cool.
You can. Ah.
All right, HR. I'll say once Jason gets here, we got to figure out dinner, okay? Hmm.
No. Us. That's it.
About 4 turns for you guys in Oregon. Ooh. Also make some crepes. Yeah, we're planning on going takeout somewhere, so I don't know where we're gonna go yet. We're thinking wings. I don't know if you guys ever the buffalo wings or like that's pretty popular here.
Okay, well. Okay, well.
Ooh, Rocky Road. Sounds like, yeah, definitely sound like a dessert. I like savory crepes, but I just like all things savory. I like to burn my mouth off with hot spices. But Indian food is so good. And a lot of Asia Pacific food.
Okay,
And-
well,
and
bird party,
Mexican,
bird
Latinx
party.
food, Latino food. Mm.
Okay, well, get on.
Oh
Okay,
gosh, all right.
no, no, no.
There we go.
Oh!
Yeah. I imagine, especially if it's what your family regularly cooks. Like for me. I get tired of your general American food.
Whoa,
Ooh.
scaredy cat. Whoa, the scaredy cat.
I'm at the place where it's like almost no food can't be too spicy. Almost. There is obviously a limit. Like all spice has to be like tasty. Just making things painful is not enjoyable for me.
Okay, bitch. I tell it. I'm about to beat you up the wall. Okay, ball. Forever.
Oh. You actually like you get the corn, like the matzah, and make it yourself. With a good guac dip, man. Mm. To say, I've done a lot of spicy challenges. Like, I don't know if you guys ever heard of the one chip challenge or like the bomb, all that kind of stuff.
Ain't no,
Good. All right.
ain't no way you're running.
No. Probably blow it up now. Hmm. Ah. Yeah, me and my friend, we've tried like all the spicy stuff and like in the hot ones. That's hilarious. Well,
Okay. I want it. Okay.
yeah. But then just, I found that for me, I make sure I eat. Make sure I eat before partaking on it, because in that, like I did the whole hour where you're supposed to sit for an hour, right? Did you sit for an hour after having it? Yeah, so I did the full hour thing, but like say about after an hour and 10 minutes, my body just rejected it. Hmm.
What?
The good shop. That's where all the good boys go. So those elementals not considered magic damage. Oh, my Lanta. That was a mistake. Look at you.
Little cow stealing.
You're a beast, man.
Yeah. Ah.
All right, man. It is. That's right. It's your bedtime. Good night, friend.
Everyone is watching it for them.
Good luck. Good luck with penance.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, just back.
All right.
Let's get it started. I beat. Hurry up. Ah! Assist the runner! Hey, runner! Ah!
Here we go.
Runner.
A melee that has range. Get a better melee item. My GT class, which is right before lunch. Yeah, I haven't eaten all day, so I'm looking forward to dinner. Oh. I guess I could do a lightning build with this character. Lightning melee build. He was telling me. Yeah, spoken. For lunch.
Hey, Block. All things are early.
Olive Garden is pretty good. I have had better though. All right. Do I have any? Ooh, I do. Give me. Nice. Give me a legendary. Nope. You know, actually. Oof. You do better, game. Dude, you got the fortitude to do that. I honestly don't know if I can do that. Actually, I do almost do that every day. I usually go to bed at midnight. But I definitely, when I was going to school, if I didn't get my sleep, it was usually I was falling asleep in class. Ah. Well, yep.
Okay, well.
Now we hit for the big numbers. Ah! So much going on!
Get in the corner.
Ah!
Okay, well, let's hurry up. Access.
Got ugly really fast. Ooh.
Here I go.
Oh. I'm angry.
Oh, no. Oh, my God.
All right.
Dolphin. Way.
Oh man. I'm not doing melee. Never mind. Bring out the Gatling guns. Where's GT?
Who left the game?
All right. Good lucky hit build.
I'll move out of the way.
Ah.
Yeah.
See. Means you're. Yeah, that's awesome, my friend. Quite the achiever. I think it's like. That's really cool, my friend. Oh.
Hold on now.
Hmm. And that just makes you, like I said, angry. Quickly check out this achievement. There's this one that says, so I need to go, wait, what? Okay, there's one that I'm going for. Okay. Oh man. Savage. Hmm. Back to doing lightning damage. That. I get this to do lightning damage. Hmm. That's so interesting that you just prefer to be in. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I only like. Yeah, my family life was pretty imperialist growing up, so I had a moment where I was put into in elementary school. I was put into like math and stuff like that, higher than my grade level. But after my dad died, we moved a lot, and so I just became survival mode. Ooh. Yes. That's what I need. Things curse related. Oh, flag. Oh.
Logos.
What's up, Logan?
Oh.
Actually, it looks like it's set to that. Let me. See, you missed the last Logos moment.
Yeah, I was outside playing with my dad and my brother. It's his birthday today.
Oh,
My brother's.
well, happy birthday to Austin.
Yeah.
All right, can I still hear you? I just switched to my headset.
Hello.
Oh, sweet. Still hear you. Cool. See him bring down Tiny Rogues. So we'll be going out. So the plan is once Jason gets here, we're gonna go out for dinner.
Oh yeah, I forgot you guys were doing that.
Yeah. Oh.
Hey, get away.
Hey, Evan!
Ah, my gosh. See if I can do this. Pop, pop, pop. Oh. Lost him on the first guy. Okay, give me booms. There we go.
Make a bed. I'm so confused.
Yes, love?
Hey,
There we go. I love talking into the microphone and having myself muted.
Not that bad. Maybe it is.
Ah.
Ow!
Ooh. Since everything in this game has armor, it'll probably be best. So we'll do this.
Oh.
There we go. Now I can make a sawmill.
Oh no!
Nice.
Okay, good.
What, So I'm guessing you're learning another instrument. Weren't you? Did you where you're talking about was the old? I forgot what it's called, but it's the old that you learned recently.
Ode to Joy.
Ode to Joy, yeah, you learned Ode to Joy. I feel like it was on a different instrument.
Oh, it's Ode to Joy, not
Yeah.
Ol.
Oh, Ode. Yes,
Yeah, that's why I
Ode.
was confused.
Ode.
I was trying to think.
My brain was
I know
thinking
what you're
O,
talking about, but-
Ola-E.
Yeah. Yeah, I was too.
That's hilarious. Okay, it's time to defeat these ads. There we go. Game got a lot easier. It was the Ode to Joy that you learned it on the trumpet, right? Oh, it was on the trumpet. Oh, never mind. It was on the trombone. Okay.
Need one-hander. Not one. There you go.
Yeah, now I can have better. Something close range, please. Oh. Ooh. Why not? 50, 40. A good boy shop. All right, Charlie, any moment Jason should be here and we'll go do dinner.
I'm moving.
That one where on our range is always considered close range. Yeah.
Those guys just completely destroyed me.
Ow, yeah.
There we go. Hmm. Interesting.
Well, dang it. No.
Come on. Move.
Enough it. Oh. Oh.
Someone, comrade.
I just froze myself.
Lasers. How about that? Where it has the most top damage is Ruthless. I'll just sell it.
I hate this. What's boss on Earth?
200? Hmm.
No.
That is pretty hilarious. That's an interesting fact. I love it.
Oh my.
The big brain. The big brain helmet.
Stop it.
Ah.
Enter.
Huh. Take that for right now.
Dragon. Try to beat me up, I dare you.
Gosh, it's going to take forever. All right. Surely but surely, let's focus on the ads. Don't need extra particle effects. Oh, that was close. That's... Come on. Aren't you shields? Get out of here. All right. The Jason's here. Let's go get dinner. Flexible, you try my friend. Then after that, so you playing on this PC. There's a Switch. You can play on that PC. Nah, I mean, my next. You convinced me. Next round, I'll be the bard. Ah. I see, Ferd. Be close in for the big numbers with this gun.
Oh no!
Oh man. The heck is with the hitboxes? Like, yeah, not hitting him right there. This isn't. You right there? Yeah, not. It's like his hitbox is right there. It's like it's below him. Something glitchy has happened. There we go. That's what's going on. I was saying the wrong hitbox. Let's go upgrade my weapon. Oh yeah. That's always nice. Oh, why not? Let's get another key. I'm encumbered. Gosh darn it. I'm encumbered. Ah! Darn dang it, armor enchantments. Why won't you die? Oh. Sweet Lanta. Oh. There you go. Is that how you win this game? I know you're talking about the instrument.
What is this?
Oh.
Oh, what is this?
So I'm trying to do is
What?
beat the game with 10 curses of prayer. Gives me an achievement. Woohoo! Oh. Alright, orbital build it is.
Oh no! What is this? Oh! Eh. Oh.
Okay, I just gotta defeat death though, so I need to not just use my stuff to get favors.
Oh, come on, Bo. I hate.
Whew. Nope. That ain't too bad. See what else I can get. Speed.
Calm down already so I can
Let's do that.
you up.
Don't you know all you need is love?
Down you. Calm down.
Woo, gritting my teeth. Alright, Char. Still fighting him? Huh? Hmm.
I have no idea exactly what to do with this.
Hmm. Well, the moment you're done with your fight, that means that's for another time. Okay. Oh gosh, I'm pressing the wrong buttons. Don't you love when your fingers like get misplaced in WASD? Gosh. I mean, anything that does dock damage. Chucks, you say? All right. I'm gonna go get dinner, my friends. Catch you guys when I get back. Oh, I've done that too. I think on this, there's a game that like you could res Kingdom Hearts. I did that on like Kingdom Hearts. Oh, which Kingdom Hearts it was? It was the one with the cards, which I forgot. But we're about to go get dinner. Catch you guys then. Where X hands misplaced placements and restart progress because of it.